All right, here we go. Well, this is a very, very exciting episode today we have going on here. Very rarely do you have such a talented individual that we're going to have on the show today. This man has been well accomplished in the independent film world and beyond. He's worked camera for major television networks that are streamed across the United States. He is a top camera operator in the independent film world, along with a very accomplished producer. He is the winner and recipient of the best film at the Urban Action Showcase, showcased at Cinemax and HBO in Times Square back in 2013. And this guy happens to also be one of my oldest and dearest friends. Please welcome Timothy Reeves.
Oh, thank you. At first, I thought you were talking about yourselves when you said the most accompanied man, but no, thank you. Thank you for having me on here. It's been awesome. Definitely great introduction. Definitely have been like around with cameras and stuff like that, but no, it's definitely awesome to be with like friends, especially Joe, knowing you for a while, and Victor, you as well too. So no, thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, no, it's always very excited to have you. I mean, you have done so much work, not only in the independent scene, but along the lines of working for major networks. I mean, you were at a major network for quite a long time doing some really serious camera work. And you've done a lot of camera work on independent films. You know, you've seen independent films from things that have cost basically nothing to films that have cost, you know, in the 7 figures, 6 figures. And if you've been on shows that have been major shows with some top celebrities in the world, tell us a little bit about your camera journey throughout your life.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved like movies. I always love the camera work and like the different shots, but it's always about like, no matter if you're on a multi-million-dollar production or studio news show or an independent film as well too, it's always about the people that make your talent. It doesn't matter your budget, is just always working with like what you have and who you're working with, who's got your back as well too. So no, definitely going through way back, I always like taking pictures as well too. So even just myself, just snapping pictures always helped out. But no, it's been a really long journey, but it's been great working with pretty much a lot of my friends, to be honest with you, with the independent world, but even becoming friends with like the studio as well too. And it's been a fantastic journey going from traveling to just locals, even traveling within the production and within like the movies as well too. And I mean, you can really ask for definitely a better group now as well too. Always working with you, Joe, as I mentioned before, Victor, everyone else involved. I know there's so many other people in there, but you guys are right here. So that's what I love the most. I mean, just the fact working with friends and be able to make a living at doing that at the same time. Yeah.
And I mean, the relationship that you guys have from young, it reminds me of me and a friend when I first got into filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's just the bond that's been there, the passion for the same, in the same industry. I mean,
No, it's true.
It's so great to work with both.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about the bond going back to the beginning. Tim, I know your first real move in the movie business was behind an Outback Steakhouse in New Jersey. Many years ago when we were teenagers, we wanted to make our first movie. So we had a friend of ours, not going to say a name, drive us across state borders to buy prop guns when we were probably 14 or 15 years old. And we got these prop guns.
It was legal at the time though.
Yeah, sure, right? Well, you're underage. You can do whatever you want. But they were real guns. They were props. So we got these guns and we wrote a little script together. We had our friends. And we pooled all of our money to buy a camera. I think it was like PC Richards or something at the time, right? We bought this, VHS. It must have been a VHS, like cassette tape camera. And we were going to film our own first movie. We tried
before the iPhones, definitely.
Oh, yeah. So we tried to do that. But, it's funny because we got our friends together. We tried to shoot. It never happened. I mean, we had expectations to make like the next John Woo movie because we loved making, watching John Woo films. We thought we were going to make like Reservoir Dogs / The Killer.
The Killer, yeah.
And it ended up just being like shooting some friends' English school project or something like that. And then one of our dear friends took it to the beach and then dove it into the sand and broke the
and
camera
pretty
instantaneously.
quick.
So
Yeah.
everybody's money went to waste, never got to make a movie, but it gave us the bug to do that. Then we started
Well, we still kept especially behind Outback, we still like kept going back there. Obviously, we didn't have the camera at the time, but we still like made like the movie that we did, like breakdowns. Joe, I was with the writing, with the ideas, and just always just like going back and forth. Like there's always ideas out there, and unfortunately at the time that like if we didn't have the camera, we didn't have the iPhones back then. So to pool our five friends' money together to get that, it's a lot different than it is now that pretty much like a 10-year-old already has the camera to do this, and times really changed. But we definitely moved out. We moved up, then we went to college as well too, so we got cameras there as well too. So no, then
you went up to Michigan for your school,
Yeah.
right? So you went there and you studied visual arts, or what was it called? What did you study?
digital cinema.
Digital cinema. So when you were there, I know you were at a couple TV stations during that time there. Where were you seeing? Were you seeing yourself going into the world of cinematography, always camera operating? Did you ever want to do more behind the scenes editing? Like what kind of took you into that direction to say, I know you always took pictures. That's what you seem to love, the visual aspect. I mean, really, when we were kids, you could have went into his childhood bedroom. This guy's wall was essentially just DVDs. That's all you had. It was like a whole DVD set. So this is obviously a huge fan of cinema, nonstop. We'd watch movies continuously. What really, were you always just wanting to go into the camera kind of route, or where do you see yourself in the visuals, or where do you see yourself going?
With the school itself, it was digital cinema, so I was kind of up again at that time that we did go to college. It was film, or like right then, like the digital we were like right in that pinnacle point. So Northern actually had a great art department, and when I went there to go visit them, they said we don't do a film right now. We're into like the digital aspect, and we're into they first had like the Max and stuff like that. So it was a really breaking change. Yeah, so that really intrigued me to like go over there, because I was thinking about staying like local in New York. The school that I was also thinking about, they were more into the film aspect. I'm sure they changed, but the way that they portrayed their art and their technology, the technology that they had, it really intrigued me to actually go over there, and which was great. You got a Mac, you got to rent the new the three chip cameras.
Yeah.
And then it was more like individual projects. So you kind of just went on your own. You would write your own script if you wanted a script, or if you just want a visual, it was all up to you. And then working into like the TV6 over there, same thing. They were very not old school, but they were like right on their like edge of their peak as well too. So they're into like their transitioning into the digital aspect. So that was actually great seeing that change as well too, from going from analog for a TV studio to then change into the digital aspect. So then I think I was doing either camera or master control. So that's like with like the switching everything from the commercials to switching back and forth. So working with that was a really good introduction to like seeing how behind the scenes that stuff actually worked.
I think that's great. Just the innovation and what they did to stay ahead. Unlike Blockbuster did, then they wouldn't be Netflix.
Exactly.
Cornering the market. I mean, that's what I love about you guys working together from 2015 when I came aboard with Around Every Corner.
Yeah.
How you filmed from then to see how we've been innovative. We went with the change and how we're doing things now. It's a really, really interesting.
No, it was a
good take on that.
Yeah. I think we had a really good turn of pretty much a lot of things from like with our generation. We really saw, I mean, obviously there's other generations before us that went from black and white TVs to what it is now. But just that turn of events of technology was great, and like all that stuff. So even just video games, movies, TV, cameras, everything. Just seeing that like switch really helped out, and like being involved with it really really goes a long way, and actually see like what it actually takes from, especially nowadays, how easy it is to film something.
Mhm.
It's really at like palm of your hand right now. But again, it's always the matter of like who's with you as well too. Like who gives you like those ideas, who pushes you. Everybody needs that as well too. Like just because you have a phone in your hand and then I'm gonna want to film something, but then to have like a group of friends or a specific friend or anyone be like, no, let's do this. Really like takes that technology and then pushes it through so you can make something huge.
Yeah, it's about just pushing things forward. It seems like, that definitely. It seems like, you said it's really interesting. It seems like, our kind of age group, people born in the late '70s and mid '80s, are kind of like that bridge between the old technology, and new technology, right? Like that, we're like that
100%,
bridge generation
Yeah,
of like
most change.
we've seen a lot of change, and
Yeah.
are kind of like we're the old guys in the young world and the young guys in the old world.
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
kind of like right in the middle, which is interesting, especially in business, because
Oh,
we have a lot of friends of ours that are significantly either younger or older than us. So we're kind of sitting right in the middle in that age group that kind of saw both worlds, which is great. But when you said the same thing, Chris brought it up for a little bit. Like, let's go back to the beginning when your career in the indies really started, right? So let's take it to 2011, where you're doing your New York City, you're doing Precipice,
Oh, nice.
and we did a TV pilot, and you were one of the major aspects behind that, a producer on the project. You did so much on that, and it was interesting, right? That was our first big indie showcase. We're shutting down places in New York, bars, restaurants. I mean, I think we're
We
20.
did the audition. We rented space for the audition.
We had everybody coming out. We met our good friend Brian Boone,
Yeah.
who actually just worked with us on our last picture, Coco. I mean, it's been years since we've worked with him over and over
Oh,
again.
yeah. Gerard as well, too.
Gerard,
Yeah.
Cordero, a lot of great
Yeah.
people. How was it doing your first, indie, especially something, to us, that was probably the biggest thing in the world at the time, where we're shutting
that
down
was huge,
bars
yeah.
in Manhattan, Queens, all over the place, getting
Yeah.
big professional actors coming in. How was it kind of jumping into that independent film world, and then eventually coming to 2015 and meeting, this Mama Luke right here next to you? That is me.
No, that it was awesome. It was definitely like a huge change of events as well too. Like going into that, and instead of kind of like doing something for a bigger stuff, to like actually like work with like you side by side, like working with that, it was huge to actually like learn that aspect of actually like making it, like literally starting from like scratch and like doing this and produce, like getting everything ready, doing the interviews, looking at all the tapes. Then when that finally got into then doing locations, doing all this, it was a lot of work, but it was awesome. It was a really good, great time of my life, and it was awesome. Like working side by side, meeting all the great people, meeting all the great actors, great people involved as well too. And no, it was fantastic. It really made you like kind of learn, kind of like understand like what it takes to make something like that big. And we kind of went from like, okay, let's take like Hollywood or like the silver screen and let's put it into like, here, let's do all this stuff, but let's do it with a very minimum crew, but make it big, which it was. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then we ended up doing, our first feature not long after that, Around Every Corner.
Yeah.
And which is about drug addiction. And the three of us, plus our one other partner on that, Enrique Williams, the four of us actually were all recipients of the Drug Free Americas Award, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I just proudly posted a picture.
You did actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
great.
So yeah, no, I mean, talk a little bit about like the first experience of going from short films to like a TV pilot, which is kind of like a short, but then our first feature tackling, especially one that kind of impacted a lot of lives like that, because you went around, you talked to a lot of people, you're involved with that ceremony to get the award and everything. It was a unique type of film.
That definitely was. I just being behind the camera, but seeing definitely like going to that event, going to the premiere as well too. Just the story and like the way like it portrays in like other people's like real lives and what movies could do and what movies can make people feel, and just seeing those people either at the award ceremony or at the premiere. Like, that was a great movie. It's like, oh, thank you. It's like, that's what I deal with, either with drugs or maybe loss of a family member. There's so much like involved with that movie. And obviously you wrote the movie and it was fantastic. It was great. And so like you understand like that the script and like the diameter, and obviously you portrayed the character Johnny as well too. So that was awesome. Yeah. But it just shows like what movies could do to people in like real life. It definitely could either help them, it could give them realization of like what's going on in their own life. Maybe something even happened 10 years ago. Maybe they were either addicted to drugs, or maybe they had a falling out with a family member or something like that. And then it just shows what you could actually like, what it brings back emotions. And definitely I'm with the awards, I mean, obviously in a good way to help out people. So
it was amazing. I mean, I remember I came on board with bringing it to the treatment center.
Yeah.
And we brought that story and people thanked us.
Yeah.
Bringing it to them that we told their story.
Yeah.
The dynamic of the family, what happens to not only the person who was under the addiction,
right,
how it affects the members of the family. Your writing is really good, and
well, thank you.
And that's one constant here, and then they feel the same way.
Yeah, no, definitely like behind the camera, like especially with that, as you mentioned, like Enrique, a lot of times it was very minimum crews, so just like working with that and turning our apartment into like not a crack den, but definitely it almost looked like
it was disgusting, right? We had to live in there during that whole time period. So a lot of sacrifice, but it was interesting because I think it was during the Winter Film Festival, one of the rehabilitation clinics that we went to with around every corner. Remember, one of the people that were there in recovery actually walked to the Winter Film Awards to thank us for doing that. And I remember one of our guys that were involved with casting, John Thomas, great guy. He comes in, he goes, Joe, somebody's here to see you guys. And there was a gentleman in the corner shaking, literally shaking from withdrawal. And he came up and hugged us and said, I saw this movie and it changed my life. And because of this, I'm not afraid to go talk to my family, because you focus on the family aspect.
Yeah,
that's priceless. I mean, I was floored. I don't think we deserve any of that kind of praise. I mean, I was so humbled that somebody,
still, when you tell stories that affect people's life that they can identify with.
Right.
That was huge. I mean, that was one of the most rewarding moments in my life, at least. Doing that, hearing that.
Definitely
come from somebody was quite incredible to see the impact that made, which was great. And then from there you fast forward a little bit, and you're getting to work with stars like Martin Cove and Danny Trejo and some big names like that. Like, how was it, just seeing Marty, who, he's a great actor, such a good guy, class act, same with Danny and everybody, and Johnny Bianco and Deborah, a bunch of great people. How was it like seeing, working with a guy, especially like Marty, and then seeing, again, what a legend from Karate Kid and everything, but then Cobra Kai comes out. And like Marty again, it's just like killing it all over the world. Not that he wasn't, but just like, Marty's the man, and seeing him do so good. Like, how was it working with Marty in that experience? And also, Danny was, again, a legend.
Gentleman.
Yeah. I mean, definitely two of those guys, definitely, we watched all those movies back in the day, growing up, Karate Kid, even Karate Kid 3, Martin Cove in that, or Terrence Silver. And even with Danny Trejo, we would always watch all his movies as well too, Wrestle Dawn, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so just being part of seeing them work, seeing how they work as well too, which definitely then you kind of like see stuff. But I'm definitely great for both of their success. They well deserved. Always great actors, and it was great, especially with working with them, especially with actually both of them, because we filmed a lot of stuff in our hometown.
Yeah.
Like the cemetery scene. Martin Coe was there, so that was awesome. Your old house that you grew up in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny's office.
Yeah, Danny's office. And then same thing with our friend Chris Walsh. We filmed at his house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having both of them there, Danny and
That's great.
Martin, just sitting on his couch watching TV while we were filming in the basement or setting up. But no, I mean, definitely, it's always great working with, especially those people that you grown up, watched movies with, and now you're actually like working with them.
It's full circle.
Yeah, 100%.
Payment.
Yeah, it just becomes like both those movies, like for pretty much every movie, like all like the sets and everything, it always seems like a family. So like working with like you guys, Gene, there's so many like Gerard back in the day as well too. Jim, like it's always like a family. So even with them, with their success and everything like that, they felt like a family as well too. So there was no like, hey, I'm up here, you're down here.
Yes.
There was none of that, and it was kind of just like, oh, hey, what's up, Marty, or what's up, Dan? Like, they were just like together, and like we're like a family together. So it was great.
Talking about, you mentioned Jim, although this won't air that day. This is his birthday today.
It is,
So
right? Yeah,
a nice
happy birthday,
big
Jim.
happy birthday
Yeah.
to James K. Fuller, a terrific actor who's
Yeah,
worked
lead
on.
Absolutely.
Breaking
Yeah,
Point.
Breaking Point,
Yeah,
other
Breaking
man.
Point.
Happy birthday.
A lot of films with Jim we've done. A
Yeah.
great guy, real strong actor. You and Jim have a lot of fun behind the scenes too. He's a good friend of ours. So
We
Jim
always do.
Jimmy's a great guy. So nice happy birthday to him. But recently we just finished a film called Coco, out now on Tubi and Amazon Prime. Fun film, family-oriented movie, really cute movie, great message, strong, Christian value kind of film, written by Jodie Motara, great writer, great actress. She's
Absolutely.
leading it as well. And you were one of the lead camera operators on that film.
Yeah.
How was the experience of actually coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah.
That was kind of like the first. We were kind of still in the pandemic during that time frame, right? So we weren't able to work with a massive crew. It was kind of like weird. This weird in between phase. How was it working on that film? Especially doing something of like the comedy sense.
Yeah, because that was the first one I did. Because unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the Uninvited with you guys. So that was the first one that I did right after the pandemic. And yeah, I mean, we definitely felt like we had the safety guidelines.
Yeah.
We had all that. So it was kind of certain people can't be on, but we kind of did it, and it was great. Just the way that everyone kind of like worked as well too. Nobody kind of like, it wasn't uncomfortable, so it wasn't like, especially like maybe back then, maybe it was like really like uncomfortable, like you really got to do this, you got to do that. But no, I mean, it was great working with everyone. It was definitely like nice, fun comedy. It was fun.
How'd you like filming in that town? And I feel like
It was great. Yeah, definitely.
Morristown.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
everything was like right there.
Yeah, I mean, Morristown was great. It was awesome working there.
Accommodating.
Especially we've been there many times. Grew up right down the street.
Gene's hometown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gene.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job getting the locations and worked out with the town. So you guys, it was awesome. It was fun. I got to work with it. I think it was my first dog movie as well too. So I don't think I did a movie with a dog. So that was the first one. Yeah. Always got the cameos as well too. Got one in the church, and no, it was fun. Kind of, especially like the first couple days. Yeah, you might seem a little like not uneasy, but again, just like everyone, like I don't know if it's either the way just people come in or great people that you guys find as well too to work with. But again, like it just becomes another like family, and you guys you always have a great eye, Joe and Victor, like everyone. You guys always have a great eye of like hiring or getting the right people and everything like that, and then setting the producing aspects to like get that actual like feeling of the family. And you do a great job as well too with the directing and everything like that. So yeah, really hold it together. And no, it was fun.
You know, there's so many times in the business, people, and advice. You've been in this business quite a long time. I don't even think you realize how experienced you are, how many people look up to you in this business. People that are new see you as an experienced person. You're a veteran now. You've been in it for years. You're very good at what you do.
Oh,
You've been around a lot of this business. And yeah, no, I mean, you're fantastic. Really, you are. You're an asset on every set you're on, and people be lucky to work with you. But, there's also a very negative, not a negative side, but a realistic side to the business. One particular film we worked on in 2013 that was about to start, and then it stopped, then it starts, then it stops, and big stars sign on, then they don't. We have this one particular film we've both loved very passionately that has been really going on in development for almost like 10 years. And it would start, something would happen. We finally got the financing and everything in place. Then the pandemic hits, right? Everything falls apart. Crazy how things like that happen. Advice to anybody trying to get into the business, not just about all the great things we said. And there's so many positives, so many great things. You meet great people, you get to experience art. But what would you say realistically people have to look at the business like? And also, you need to look at it and say, look, it's going to be a lot of fun, but there's also going to be some challenges.
Yeah. I think you really have to feel that you want to do it, because that'll make you keep pushing as well too. Obviously, there's always going to be hurdles no matter what you do, no matter what business you're in, even if you're into like account or anything, not just entertainment, but there's always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be hurdles. One, definitely make sure that you really want to do it, and then that'll keep pushing you. Also, having a great team with you, not even just behind you, but just actually with you, and having them have the same passion for that will help you then keep using the hurdles over and over and over. So then we're even like passing the baton, more hurdles. And yeah, you just really got to love it. And no matter what happens, things are going to happen. And then you just got to keep pushing with it. You might have to then tweak something else. Maybe you might have to like do a priority, do something like maybe work on this project before this one, because maybe like either the funding is too high on this one, but you still want to work. And then you just kind of like have a little like sidestep, but still have your passion project on, like, don't put on hold, but have it like,
You just change.
yeah, it's like right there. Yeah. And then, I mean, if you could just do the passion project, that's great. But obviously there's definitely going to be hurdles. But yeah, as long as you want to do it and who you're with wants to do it, you'll do it. So
I always say if you're on set for 12 to 16 hours
yeah,
and you enjoy that more than the 4 hours working somewhere else, then this is for you.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
That's short. That's a lot better than
That's
more
the
short
right
and
short hand version.
for that. Should have said that.
Short hand version.
Yeah.
So, Tim, let's ask you quick bullet point questions. Favorite movie?
It's always a tough one. There's always the three.
Give us three.
True Romance, The Rock, and Once Upon a Time in the West.
That's
Those
great.
are some strong movies
It
right
really
there.
is.
Beautiful
John
movies.
mentioned True Romance.
True Romance is
True
phenomenal.
Romance.
You
You need The Rock. You need some entertainment.
I
in
love
there.
The Rock. That's
I-
right.
True Romance.
Yeah.
It's always
Well,
a
we were
tell
mentioning
between
Gary
me.
Oldman. That's why we mentioned
Yeah.
True Romance.
Yeah.
But literally, we're almost 2 out of 3 together. It's a toss-up between Once Upon a Time in America and the West for me.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm a little more of like the
You-
America
you're on
guy,
America's
but I
side,
love
yeah.
the West too. I think they're both great films. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah, speaking of
absolutely.
True Romance and Fight
True
Club.
Romance,
and
yeah.
I'll give you the third.
Speaking of cinematography for
Something
both,
else.
like, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, you kidding me? I mean, I think
Yeah.
any film directed by Sergio Leone
Oh yeah.
is brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
everything he does. We used to love those films and just watch those
Oh, we watch those a lot.
continuously. I mean, everything
Yeah.
he does is brilliant. Every soundtrack he has in his films. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Oh, he does,
He's
yeah.
fantastic. It's just those are movies you really want to watch. Favorite independent film you've worked on?
Boom. I
You better say ours.
Well, no, Deadly Precipice, just because that was like the first one. That was a lot of fun. And just seeing the actual thing. And yeah, they're all have been fun. Breaking Point was fun. Coco was fun. You can't say which one's your favorite because they all have their own. I remember every quarter. That was great working with you as well too. Like especially like camera and actor. That was great. So they all have their perks. So can't really say one or the other.
So they say there are pinpoint moments in people's lives, kind of like lightning striking, right? Things that put you on a path that just dictate where your life is going to go. What was the moment that you remember falling in love with cinema when you said to yourself, maybe I want to do this, or I'm just going to want to be around movies? Was there a moment, that pinpoint moment? Because everybody has something in their life that kind of impacts them, no matter what it is, good or bad. There's moments in life that shape people's lives for forever.
Like that I wanted to do?
Yeah, like were you watching a movie? Were you sitting with your family? Would you see something in theaters? Or something make you say, I love this?
It really goes back to with my family when I was a kid. That's like the first time, if you want to go back that far. Saturday was movie and pizza night. So we would always go to the rental. We would always go to either the local video store or we would go to Blockbuster or whatever. Usually it was always the local one. And I have a brother and sister, so it was the three of us. So one picks one night, the other one picks the next week, and the next week, so it all rotates. So we've always that was always like the early treasure moment. That it was always like pizza, movie, so I always liked movies back when I was a kid. And then just growing up, I was talking with you as well too, Joe. Obviously, that was a big one. Like we'd always talk movies. Even when we were in band next to each other, we would always talk about movies.
We saw Rush Hour together, and
we did with Ty Parr.
Yeah.
And then we would every sleepover, some whatever it is, and birthday party. We'd always either play GoldenEye or watch a movie. And definitely, probably, as I think you mentioned this earlier in the interview, John Woo.
Yep.
Right around that time, and we would just watch The Killer, Hard Boiled all the time, and all those movies. And I remember one time, this is back when we would just kind of go to the video store, and then if you saw China Fat on the cover, we would have to buy it or rent it.
Yeah.
And it turned out he wasn't in that. Well,
a lot of bootleg Italian Fat
he was in
movies,
about 5 seconds when he's on the cover. So
Italian Fat doing background work when he was 16 years old.
But he starred at it. And
Awesome.
but yeah, those are the two, if you really want to go out, starting with the early days of pizza movie, and obviously then just talking movies, watching movies with you, Joe, especially.
Yeah, I remember a lot of GoldenEye, Speed, and Sock'em Bopp'em Whopper. At the Reeves house. So that was a lot of the things we did when we were younger. So
Don't fall to the floor with the Sock'em Bopp'em.
Those were fun.
She was always nervous with you and Steve that you were gonna fall to the floor.
Those big boxing gloves that were like balloons you put on, and have a good have a good time like that. But no, this is beautiful, Tim. Yeah, I think again, this is you are such an amazing talent, a dear friend to all of us that are here. I have never heard, I don't think, a single person say a bad word about you as an individual, as a work colleague. Is one of the hands down one of the best people I've known in my life.
Yeah,
very thankful for you as a friend, and to be a business partner, be in the business with you. I'm sure Victor feels the exact same way.
It's very rare, not only to meet one person in the industry that became like a brother, but another, who are brothers together. It just reminds me of a relationship I had with a friend when I was young, and I'm blessed to be working with the both of you. It seems like we have like minds, and it's just flows. It flows effortlessly.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for having me on. This what you guys did with this podcast as well too. This is awesome.
Thanks.
It's an honor sitting here with you, and I don't do a lot of interviews, so thank you for having me.
You're
on.
fantastic. Tim
Thank you.
Reeves, everybody,
No, it's
you'll
definitely-
see his work coming up.
Oh,
And again, one more thing, your bounty hunting
Oh yeah.
Oh,
business.
yeah.
Forgot all
We've
about
heard
that,
about
yeah.
something about you being an up-and-coming bounty hunter. If you could explain that a little bit.
These rumors.
don't forget about treasure hunting.
And treasure hunting.
Yeah, so they
So-
need someone with his skills.
Yeah.